Hey friends, Ash here with gentsscents. Hope you're doing well. Today it's time to talk about this one right here, Ralph Lauren Polo Cologne Intense. I did a first impression on this fragrance and I liked it a pretty good amount and I've given it a bunch of wear since then. So now it's time to break it down. I'm gonna show you guys the presentation, which I've already shown you, but I'm gonna show it in more detail. And then I'm gonna break the fragrance down, let you know whether you should check it out or not. I will also let you know how it compares to the original Polo Green, which is also just known as Polo, but people call it Polo Green because of obvious reasons. So let's jump into it. Let's talk about Cologne Intense. Now I guess the first thing I'm gonna touch on is just the name itself, Polo Cologne Intense. I've noticed a lot of people have approached this fragrance calling it an eau de cologne. And that, of course, is a concentration of fragrance. So eau de colognes typically are very weak because there's not very much fragrance oil in the fragrance. It's mainly perfumer's alcohol. This, though, is not an eau de cologne. Yes, the name is Cologne Intense, but that's really just a naming convention here. That's not the concentration. You'll see that with a lot of fragrance houses, actually. So you'll have a fragrance and they'll name it Cologne as the name of a flanker. So for example, Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Cologne. Originally, there was L'Homme Ideal, which is an eau de toilette. And then they came out with L'Homme Ideal Cologne, which is now discontinued. Rest in peace. So here it is, L'Homme Ideal Cologne, right? Says it right there, clear as day, Cologne. See? Cologne. Then when you actually check the concentration, it's an eau de toilette. It's not an eau de cologne. It's just a naming convention. When you see cologne on some of these fragrances, they're just trying to get across, hey, this is fresh. So that's what they're doing here. Cologne Intense. Yeah, that seems a little bit out of place. Cologne Intense, that doesn't necessarily go together. If you want to think about it in just a really simplistic way, they're trying to tell you, hey, this is fresh, this is brisk, this is lively, but it's also pretty strong, so it's intense. So no, cologne is not saying that this is an eau de cologne. The only reason I mentioned that is, like I said, I've seen a bunch of people saying, oh, it's an eau de cologne, so it's only gonna last 1 hour, 2 hours. Nah. Okay, with all that worthless information out of the way, let's check out the presentation. So this is your classic Polo style of box and bottle. On the front, you've got the name of the house, the name of the fragrance. You've got Cologne Intense right there, and then the size as well. 2 fluid ounces or 59 milliliters. Yeah, that's a little strange. Usually it's 60, but 59 here. Nothing on top. On the sides, not really very much. On the back, you have your ingredient information and your caution, flammable until dry, keep away from flames and heat. Avoid spraying in eyes. Cool, thanks for that information, very useful. On the bottom, you've got your batch code. Batch code here, 38U100E. And here we have the bottle. Bears a striking resemblance to the original Polo Green. Difference here being it's not gold. Instead, you have this kind of gray gunmetal-ish color. And the cap is different as well. It clicks into place and the atomizer is different. And it is a pretty substantial difference, which I'll show you right here. So yeah, you can see right there, the 2 atomizers are very, very, very different, with the original Polo Green having much more of an old school look and feel to it. On the bottom of the bottle, you're gonna find your sticker with your batch code, and I'll go ahead and waste a couple sprays for you so you can see how the atomizer works. There we go. Now let's go over the fragrance itself. And one thing that I need to tell you guys with this fragrance is that you need to wear it on skin. When you spray this onto a tester strip, the citrus is much, much, much more apparent. So where I just sprayed this on, I can get a lot of grapefruit, a substantial amount. But if I spray this on my skin, that grapefruit shrinks away and it's not at all as prominent as off a tester strip. So off of skin, it's more a blast of mint and a little splash of grapefruit, whereas off the strip, it's more grapefruit with mint underneath. It's very fresh, a little bit sweet as well in the opening, and it has this green, leafy kind of herbal feel underneath the grapefruit and underneath the mint, and at times it almost smells grassy. It's certainly fresher and more modern than the original Polo Green, that's for sure. And a lot of the more masculine notes in Polo Green are stripped out of Cologne Intense. The leather, the oak moss, the tobacco, those notes from the original, those are gone. And you may think that that means this doesn't have any of that original Polo Green DNA in here, but it actually does. When you smell this, if you're familiar with the original, you'll be able to pick out a lot of similarities with the original Polo Green. Like I said, just made more modern and fresher and cleaner. The florals in the original Polo Green have been replaced with more of an herbaceous green feel, and the woodiness in Cologne Intense is more of this fuzzy modern woodiness instead of a dense pine. The mint bows out pretty quickly, and then the grapefruit follows along behind that, and then Cologne Intense settles into this fresh herbaceous feel with woodiness creeping up more and more as the fragrance dries down. And thankfully, even though yes, this is a little sweeter than the original, yes, it's fresher, more modern, all that stuff, it doesn't start leaning into that bubblegummy side of things that you find in a lot of modern releases. Thankfully, they stayed away from that. So you're not gonna find any of that Invictus type DNA in here. And I'm so glad. It's also a very masculine fragrance. This is not the type of scent that you could smell and be like, yeah, I think, you know, it's pretty unisex, anybody could pull it off. No, not really. This one is made specifically for men. Like I said a number of times, it's got a little bit of that throwback vibe, a little bit of that original Polo vibe in here, and that makes this lean much further onto the masculine side of things. And once you hit the dry down, this one takes on more of an Ambroxany vetiver feel for me. More of a Javanese type vetiver, so fresh, clean, a little grassy, not very rooty or dark, so you're not gonna have a vetiver feel in this scent akin to something like Ancre Noir by Lalique, for example. So instead of being a very earthy or dry vetiver, it ends up smelling more like a fresh and woody vetiver. Now let's go ahead and talk about the performance of this one. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video with the whole eau de cologne, Cologne Intense thing, some people swear that they're getting 1 or 2 hours of longevity here. For me, 6 to 7 hours pretty easily. And the projection is more on the moderate side of things. It's not really a heavy projector, but it lasts, it lingers for quite a while, and I can pick it up, especially as I move around. So while it's not something that I would say is fantastic, for this type of scent, a green, fresh fragrance, I would say overall it's a little bit above average. In terms of seasons, spring and summer, pretty cut and dry there. And as far as daytime or nighttime use, definitely more of a daytime fragrance. It is office safe, it's good casually, and you could wear it formally if you wanted to as well. Basically, if you want to break this down really simply, this is what Polo Green would be had this never existed and they were releasing it as a new line today. This is what it would be. Or you could just say it's Polo Green made more modern and fresh. That would work too. Another thing to bring up really quickly is that Cologne Intense does not smell like Modern Reserve. Modern Reserve is its own thing, and if you get this hoping that it's going to smell like this, you're gonna be disappointed because this is not this. I bring that up because there were some people that were really hoping this would smell like this, but it doesn't. I love Modern Reserve. A lot of people will tell you that you can pick this up and it's gonna get you a really similar feel to how Polo Green smelled years and years ago before multiple reformulations. So if you're looking for a cheaper alternative to Modern Reserve and you don't wanna buy just a bottle of this is probably your best bet, just Polo Green. Overall though, I do really like this. I like Cologne Intense. I think it's really nice, and I'm a big fan of green scents, so that's not a surprise that I would like it. I think it does lean a little more toward the mature side of things, at least compared to a lot of the designer fragrances coming out nowadays. But if you're a younger guy and you appreciate green fragrances, then you can absolutely pull this off. When I say it leans mature, it's just in the sense that it has that original Polo Green DNA in here. The actual execution of the fragrance and the aroma chemicals used, very modern. So really just if you're into those very sweet fragrances that come out nowadays, this may not be for you, but if you appreciate fragrances that do have a little throwback tinge, check it out. For me, Polo Cologne Intense, big thumbs up, and one of the better Polo flankers that have come out in the past 5 years probably. All right, guys, it's gonna do it for me. As always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.